Today we'll be showing you how to analyze Amazon FBA deals correctly so you don't lose money. So there is a lot more to buying an Amazon FBA deal than you can buy it for cheap and you can sell it for more on Amazon. You have to look at all sorts of data, and when you're new to Amazon it can all seem a little bit overwhelming. So that's why in today's video we're going to be showing you the things we look for when analysing an Amazon FBA deal. So make sure to stick around because this video could save you thousands and thousands. I'll be going through a number of different actual live potential FBA deals and showing you the things you need to be looking out for. So let's get into the video. So the first product we're looking at today is the Sonic the Hedgehog toy, which we can buy for £11 and it sells on Amazon for £28.68. So of course that's always the first thing we're looking at when analysing an FBA deal is, can we buy it for a lot less than we're going to sell it for on Amazon? So on this one we can, but of course there's way more data we need to look at. So to do that we use the Profitl Chrome extension, loads of different data points, and just collates all the important information into a central place on the Chrome extension. So I've got it up here, and after checking the price is selling more on Amazon, so the first thing we need to check is, can we actually sell it? Is this item gated? Now I'm just logged into a Profitl test account, so we're not ungated on many items, but it's really easy to check. You can do it on Profitl. All you have to do is scroll down on the warnings, and yeah, we can see this one is gated. Now, getting ungated isn't a deal breaker. It's not the end of the world. It's not too difficult to get ungated. All you need to do is buy 10 units from a wholesaler or a proper supplier who will provide you an invoice and send that off to Amazon. Now I won't go into too much detail on that today. As long as you can get an invoice from a wholesaler, it won't work from a retailer. You can get ungated. So sometimes you do need to see it as an investment, but it is worth doing because once we were ungated in Sonic, it means we can sell any Sonic item. It really does open up our Amazon FBA for other similar items like this. So once we've checked the gated situation, and let's imagine we are ungated in this one, the next thing we want to do is check the return on investment. Now we know there's a big price and difference on this one, so we know the return on investment is going to be good. So we're going to be getting 93% return on investment based on the current prices. Now usually we aim for 30% as a minimum. This gives us a nice bit of wiggle room just in case prices do change. So on this one we're getting over 90%, which is great because it means we can drop our price a little bit if we need to, because the thing about Amazon is to win the buy box, it is all about price. So if you have got the ability to drop your price a bit to try and win the buy box, then that's great. Now obviously we don't recommend dropping your price too much. You don't want to get into pricing wars, but having the ability there to do that means you can compete if needed. So we've checked the gated situation, we've checked our return on investment. The next thing we're looking at is actually our sales. So this one we can see it's selling 50 times a month, and we use this alongside our competition on the listing. So of course sales is very, very important. We want high selling items, but you can go for lower selling items if there's not too much competition. So on this one, for example, there's only 2 other FBA sellers. Doesn't look like Amazon's on the listing at the moment. We will check using the price graph to see if they have sold it previously, but we also want to be checking how much stock do they have. So all we have to do is click the view seller stock data button, and we can see these 2 sellers between them have 29 in stock. So it's selling over 50 times a month, so that means they should sell out within a month, and it means we've got a good chance of winning the buy box. We'll also have a look to see how the buy box has been shared as well. So this Epic store has had 55% of the buy box, and this other seller and another seller has had 36%. So it does look like the buy box is getting shared around, so that is also a good sign. Now, next up we want to check about Amazon. I did just mention this about Amazon not currently be on this listing, but we want to check, have they previously been on the listing? So all we do is we head on to the price graph and we'll have a look over the history of the product, and we'll turn off everything but Amazon. And yet we can see Amazon have never sold on this item. So that's great. You can compete against Amazon, but it is a lot more difficult because they don't always share the buy box so much, and the chances are they're going to be buying the item for a lot less than you. Now, whilst we're on the price graph, this is the thing we'll be checking next. So the first thing we do is just checking the sales rank, really, just to confirm it is definitely selling. So typically the drops in this line, we'll lower this down to 60 days, indicate sales. So we can see that this is coming down at the moment, which suggests it's selling more. Realistically, we'd want to drop this price a bit further to try and get them sales up, but we can see using this sales rank line that this is definitely selling. Now the next thing we check is the price, and this is so important because the price right now is £28.68, which is great. It's not a suppressed buy box, so that means people are still going to buy it. But we want to check, is the price high now? Is it low now? What's likely to happen to this price in the future? And this is quite an interesting one because it does look like it's a very high price at the moment. So we can see it's driven right up, actually changed price today. But over the last year, it has actually been way cheaper. So we would need to think really careful about this deal because there's a really good chance this price may drop. When we'll come down to the average data on Profitl, and we'll have a look at the average price over the last year. And we can see the average has been £22. So if we change this price to £22.63, that's only given us a 47% return on investment, so not quite as good. And there is a chance it may even drop lower than this. So you've got to think really carefully about deals like this when the price has been lower. Now, of course, it's quite possible you'd buy this item, you'd send them in and you'd sell them for a high price. But there's always that risk that the price is going to come down. So it's really important to be aware of these average prices to try and minimize. You don't want to buy this item, you send it in and the price crashes and it's selling for an amount which means you'd be making a loss. That is not worth it. It's not worth buying a deal like that. Now we'll check the prices so we're getting a good understanding of this product. The next thing we want to do is any potential warnings on this product. So we know this is gated on this account, but we can see there's no IP risk known. It's unlikely it's private label. Obviously it's a Sonic item. Amazon don't sell, so that's great. It's not oversized, it's not hazmat. Now the one thing which does show us here is there's 2 variations on this listing. And you're probably wondering, why is that important? Well, the reason for that is because the best sellers rank, which means how popular the item is, and the reviews, they are for both variations. So you need to understand what variations are the most popular. And that also ties in with these sales as well. So these sales are going to be for the whole listing. So it could actually be the other variation, which is more popular. But there is a solution on Profitl. All we have to do is come down to here and click View Variation Sales. The variation we're looking at is only getting 8% of the sales. So it's really not as popular as it looks. And this is why analyzing is so important, because we've gone through all these different data points. It doesn't look like a bad deal other than the price is high at the moment, but this is an absolute deal breaker for us in its current form. Only 2 sales a month, and this is why you have to work your way through all these different data points. And it can look like a great deal, but you can come across just one data point and then realize, no, this deal is not going to work. So we've mostly analyzed this deal now, and realistically this is one we'd probably avoid just because it's not selling enough compared to the other variation, and we think the risk of the price dropping is too high. There'd always be one more thing we would check before buying an FBA deal, and that is any potential discounts on the item we can buy it from. This one is from the Entertainer, the toy shop, and it's not a discounted item at the moment. It is a full price item, but what we do is we'd look for discount codes. We can use Chrome extensions like Honey, or any potential deals we can get on the item just to make extra profit, because sometimes doing that can be the difference between an item being good and being bad. So it's always worth looking at discounts. Now, the order you check all these things is personal preference, because some people may check for discounts first. Some people may look at price graphs first. It really doesn't matter. That's something you'll come to learn when sourcing your FBA products. Everybody does it differently. Now next we're going to be showing you another potential FBA deal and analysing it and running you through the things you need to be checking for. But before we do get into that, we did just want to let you know about an exclusive discount code for Profitl. If you did want the Profitl Chrome extension, it's not just a Chrome extension we have though, we also have an amazing DealFinder, a wholesale scanner, just a brilliant Discord community. But some discount codes will pop up just here. That's going to save you either 5% on yearly plans, and yearly plans already have over 50% off, or 20% on monthly plans. So it means you can get Profitl for almost as cheap as about £10.75 a month. So really cheap. We'll also put it down below in the description, so make sure to take that down if you did want to save some money on your Profitl subscription. Now up next we have a product from Ocado, and it's this creamed horseradish which we can buy for £3, and it sells on Amazon for £9.69. Now it is slightly different packaging, but that's absolutely fine with Amazon FBA. That's really not a problem. So we'll go through this one with a bit more speed, just because I've run you the things we look for, just because I run you through all the things we're looking for. So first up, checking it's gated. As I say, we're on a test account, so all items are going to be showing we're gated just because we don't use this Amazon seller account. But sales, 19 sales a month, so not a huge seller. Only 2 other FBA sellers on this listing, so potentially it looks okay. But we'll have a look at their stock levels, and we're only really going to be competing with the FBA sellers, so they don't have too much stock, only 8 stock in total. But we have noticed, again, this is another variation product, so we want to check the variations probably fairly early, and we can see this one is getting 64% of the sales, So not too bad. It is quite a low seller. Profit wise, it's great. 103% return on investment, giving us £3.18 profit after our fees. We could potentially drop our price to get our sales up. No other warnings on this item. We'll look through the price graph and have a look over the last year to see what it's been doing. So it has been slightly cheaper, but not insanely cheaper. We'll have a look at the average data as well. The average price over the last year has been £9.26. So still a 90% return on investment with that. We can also see Amazon haven't been selling on this listing, so that's another good sign. So generally this deal doesn't look too bad. The only thing which might put us off this is the low sales. So 17 sales a month really isn't much. And what can happen is you can get stuck with items which are just sat in Amazon's warehouse. And when they have an expiry date like this item, this is something you don't want. So you do need to bear that in mind. Now I'll be showing you just one more item, so stick around to see what we think. And the item is from Smith's Toys, and this is WWE Elite Series action figure for £20, and it's selling now to £32.96. So straight away we know that this profit on this isn't going to be huge, just because ideally you want an Amazon listing to be double the price you're buying it for as a minimum to get your 30% return on investment. So having a look at it on Profitl, we can see 24% return on investment. So realistically that would probably be too low for us. It is still £4.88 profit per unit, but that's only because it's a more expensive item. It's selling 93 times a month, so it's not bad sales overall, but there's 13 other FBA sellers on this listing. So let's have a look to see how much stock they have. So they have 83 in stock in total. So realistically, that's way too much stock for us to compete with not crazy amounts of sales. So when you see an item like this, which you know isn't that good, it's probably worth leaving. But what we always do is if we find a potential deal, we'll stick it in a spreadsheet and we'll come back to it in a month's time and see if the data is looking better now. Because if there's low competition and it's still doing decent sales a month, there's no reason we can't look to buy this at a later date. So that's the things we check for when analysing an Amazon FBA deal. Now you can never remove the risk fully when buying FBA deals. There's always risk, that is business, but using Profitl to help you analyse your deals can save you from a lot of mistakes you may make. So we've hoped you found that video helpful. If you did take any value from it, please do hit that subscribe button. It really does help our channel grow. And if there's any other videos you'd like us to make, please let us know down below in the comments. But that's all for now. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.